Hello folks, I'm Julie at Julie Loses, and thank you for tuning in to another installment of my video blog. Today is Friday, January 31st. That means the month is nearly over. Just crazy. It seems like only yesterday that it was September. Wanted to do just a general update for you. This week, Tuesday, I had my weekly weigh-in at the Pro Sports Club, and I was down 1 pound. At first, I was kind of down about it, and I did have some mood stuff going on earlier this week that I wanted to talk about a little bit. Now, I have a history. I'll just come out with it. I've mentioned depression, but I have a history of bipolar disordered stuff going on, and I've been treated for it both with medication, and now I'm not taking some medication, but it does kind of flare up from time to time, and I see myself kind of getting more hyper and more hyper and more hyper, and then it hits some sort of hyper limiting threshold of some sort, and then I start to come down, and sometimes those down parts are fairly what's the word, precipitous? I don't know, but it's this time I definitely felt myself. I would say last week and before, I was definitely on that high of everything's fantastic, everything's good, I'm feeling strong, I'm feeling powerful, I'm feeling empowered. And then it kind of started sucking out of me, and little things were making me anxious and making me question things, and left me earlier this week just feeling kind of glum about things. But I recovered pretty swiftly. So Tuesday, I was kind of down. I did the weigh-in. I lost, obviously, we always want to lose like as much weight as possible. But 1 pound is completely respectable, and it was clear to me that I was not in my total right frame of mind when I got kind of down about it. And, thankfully, I was able to frame it pretty well on my own. When I posted something about it on Twitter, I got people responding that, hey, a win is a win, a loss is a loss, and a loss is a win. I don't know what property that is in logic. Is it transitive? No, I don't think so. Anyway, I digress. Let me go back. So I was feeling pretty down about it, and I had some anxiety about the bike thing. We know last week I was super excited about getting a bike, and I'm still super excited about it. But, these little self-defeating thoughts come in from time to time, and they start asking questions like, did I get the right bike? Is this bike too big for me? Little hints of suggestive words from anywhere, like the cycling instructor saying that the seat looked a little too high for me, could come down a centimeter. Something that completely can be done in the fabrication process during a formal bike fit, which I have scheduled for next week. And then reading the manual for the bike, and it's saying if you don't have at least 2 solid inches of clearance of standover height, get off the bike, it's not the bike for you. Well, I'm a little snug in the standover height area, but otherwise it fits me okay. But all these little things compound and make me nervous and anxious, and feeling like I've made a mistake, like I've failed in some way, and I get nightmares. My sleep becomes bad, and then all this negative Nancy stuff creeps in, and I do not like it. But I'm getting much, much better at being able to reframe it. And I think one, I'm going to give myself credit. I'm well educated on the issue. Mental health is something that I've been a self-study at since I was pretty young, but I've read a lot. I can distance myself enough from my own thoughts to be able to see what is reality and what is me just winding myself up. And while it takes cognitive effort to do it, I can do it. So that is a battle right now that I am currently winning, which is good. So yeah, that left me feeling kind of bad on, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Just they weren't fantastic days, and I was kind of felt low about myself. But Tuesday night, I just decided that I said, okay, enough of this. I'm going to give myself permission to give myself a break, because I didn't work out on Tuesday. I had been planning to do some working out and didn't, and felt kind of bad about it. But instead of dwelling on that and letting it ruin me, I just decided, look, I'm going to take it easy for the rest of the day. I'm going to, have some self-compassion. And the next morning, I'm going to get up. I'm going to drink some tea. I'm going to take on the day. And that's what I did. And ever since then, I felt a lot better. So getting back into things, rolling with these punches, even though they're coming from my own head, has been it's a challenge, but I'm grateful that I'm having these challenges while I can manage them and learn from them, because if I were working full-time, had a lot going on, and was trying to do this whole lifestyle change at the same time, it would be much, much harder. Not impossible, and I give so much credit to people who are doing it and succeeding with it while managing lives that are much more complicated than my own. So there is that. So let's see, I talked about my weight, I talked about my mood. Yesterday, I had an appointment with a podiatrist. I had actually seen my 2020 Lifestyles physician on Wednesday, and I think I mentioned on my blog I suspected he would do a lot of back patting, and that's exactly what he did. He said, "Oh, you're doing a great job. I'm so proud of you. Look at the inches that have come off, and don't you feel great?" and blah, blah, blah. And that was well and good, and at the end he asked me if everything was going well, if I was having any aches or pains, and I mentioned that, yeah, I actually, my wrist and my left foot have been hurting since over the weekend, and, I don't know what to do about it just yet. And he talked to me a little bit about the foot thing, and he said, well, we got a podiatrist here on staff. Go make an appointment with him. And so I did, and I saw him yesterday after my workout. And we talked a little bit about my symptoms, and, my feet, I've had a long-standing... I've had a long-standing issue with my feet ever since I was in high school and was in the marching band. My feet hurt all the time. I remember going to a podiatrist and them saying something about bone spurs, and they gave me some orthotic inserts that were hard and plastic, and I never, ever wore them after like week 1. So, plus I had an issue where somebody... I'm not going to name names, but they dropped a snare drum on my foot in the band room at some point, which fractured part of my foot, and I was in a cast for many, many weeks. It was awesome. It was like hot pink. Plus, I was a very boyish tomboy girl in the marching band playing cymbals on the sideline, and it was full of awesomeness. I look at that now. At the time, I was so embarrassed by it. So I've had those issues, and then with the weight, obviously, that puts a lot of strain on your feet, can do all kinds of damage, and I've never been able to walk very far, or, running is a different story, but, my feet get sore a lot. I'm used to it. It's just something I deal with, and when I get home from working out, if I take my shoes off at the house, I waddle around the house afterwards. And to me, it just seemed normal. It just seemed like a complication from being out of shape and overweight. So, and I had hoped that would get better over time. So he suspected I may have sprained something or had some sort of tendinitis in my left foot. And he felt around it a little more, asked me where pain was, and I had some pain in one of the joint areas. He's like, well, let's go get an x-ray of that. So they did an x-ray, and then like 10 minutes later, the assistant comes in and says, come with me, we're going to go back to the x-ray room for a little show and tell. Very exciting. So I went over, and the doctor was sitting in front of the x-rays, and at first I couldn't see anything, and he's like, very interesting, and he like zooms in on this part of the top of my left foot, and and I'm going to get a disc of this. It's going to have an image, and I'm probably going to go in and edit my blog post that coincides with this later to add this image. But there is a huge hook bone spur at the top of my foot. It looks like, I was joking about it last night. It looks like something like one of the dinosaurs that has a little tapper thing on top of their foot from Jurassic Park, Velociraptor or something. It's quite large, and I have seen x-rays of bone spurs before, and I looked at them afterwards online, and I didn't see anything close to as big as what was on my foot. And the doctor looked, like he was being entertained by the whole thing. So he said, yeah, you don't feel that? I was like, well, no. It's kind of in a position right at the top of my foot, and when he started manipulating it a little bit, once he was feeling my feet afterwards, it was a little sensitive, but before I didn't even really know, and I was like, oh yeah, I remember they told me I had some bone spurs back in the day, and it wasn't a big deal. They might be able to file them down, but it wasn't an option that I wanted to go for. And then he was showing me that there was some on the end of the joints of some of the areas of my foot, they were narrowing a little bit, which is a sign of arthritic stuff going on. And then there were some more bone spurs on the outside of my left foot that were not as humorous as the one on the top. They looked newer, I guess, and they looked weird, and he said there may be some stress fracture stuff going on with them, but he wasn't able to really tell on the x-ray, so we would need an MRI or a bone scan to deal with that. But he didn't seem like he wanted to press that issue right away. So ultimately said right now it's about managing and preventing more damage to my foot or feet. This could be happening on both feet. I might just be feeling something on my left foot for right now. But he suggested I get new shoes. I'm not a shoe person. I've purchased maybe 8 pairs of shoes in the last 15 years. Yeah. And like 2 or 3 pairs have been in the last year. So I'm already pretty well, out of my wallet for shoes at this point. But he said I needed something with motion control, something that was much firmer in the sole. And he also threw some inserts into my current shoes that make me feel taller. That's one good thing. My shoes fit a little bit tighter now, but apparently my left foot is like almost completely flat. Versus my right foot, which has a little bit of a low arch, but the left foot is much flatter. It's also a bit swollen because, I have this possible stress fracture or sprain or something going on there anyway. So, my feet are just full of wind right now, and walking with these inserts was not very comfortable yesterday afternoon, so I'm nervous and excited to see what happens. He said in 2 weeks we'll see if they're making me feel better, and if not, they may need to do some other stuff. But getting my feet, the middle of my feet up off the floor, I guess, is pretty important. So I'll be following through on that. In other news, I had my tea this morning. I had Harney and Sons hot cinnamon spice tea, which is caffeinated, which is why I'm probably talking in such an animated manner this morning. But it's all gone. I'm very sad. And it's so good, I wanted to get some more. But I need to limit myself caffeine-wise. I had completely stopped caffeine upon starting the program. Before the program, before about a month before the program, I was drinking Mountain Dew like it was going out of style. I would drink, multiple cans per day, and getting off of it, I did go through some minor caffeine withdrawals, and I wasn't eager to, it was kind of nice being off caffeine, not having that habit that a lot of people do. And I got some of this stuff at the spa over at the gym per my dietitian's. She basically recommended it, and I didn't know it was caffeinated until afterwards. I went home and looked it up online and found out that it has caffeine, and then I talked to my dietitian about it, and she said, a little bit of caffeine here and there can actually be beneficial to weight loss, and if you can manage it and limit to a couple times per week. It's especially helpful before workouts. It decreases the it makes you feel like you're not working as hard when you're working out. So if you're doing a really intense workout, it doesn't feel as intense. So you still get the effect of the exercise on you. You just don't feel like you're dying all the time. So I was game to try that. So I'm doing it maybe 2 to 4 times per week is when I'm having it. And I'm trying to put them on days where I know I'm going to have some activity. However, today's Friday, and while I would usually have a workout, I had 2 workouts in a row on Wednesday, Thursday, but I need to do something today to justify this caffeine. So, and not just blogging. Blogging does not count as exercise. I'm sorry. It does take a lot out of me to produce these videos. It is so hard to hit record on this little button on the screen, but that does not justify it. So I'm going to try to get on my bike again today if it dries up just a little bit. Otherwise, take a walk. I can't say that too loud because the little guy's ears prick up. Do something outside. So I had my tea. They had this, so I'm on Twitter. I have Julie Luz's Twitter handle, or whatever they call it, and that's the account I use to basically follow other weight loss bloggers, people who are fitness oriented, usually people who have lost a lot of weight and maintained it, or are currently doing weight loss, kind of as an extra support mechanism for me. And some of the people started this Twitter hashtag called What You Can When You Can. That's WYCWYC, and I think they pronounce it Wick Wick. But it's a great, easy to remember little tool that says, you may not always be able to do everything as awesome as you want, but if you do a little bit, you're doing what you can when you can. So maybe you don't have a chance to do a full hour-long workout, but you go take a walk around the block before you go to bed. That's a what you can when you can moment. Or maybe you don't have a chance to clean the whole house, but you can tidy your desk. That's a what you can when you can. So it's this way to turn over these self-defeating thoughts like I'm not good enough and I wasn't uber enough today to justify anything. But if you're doing anything, sometimes that's enough. And believe me, I've gone through so many years of doing nothing that I really can appreciate how these small little steps in the right direction add up to big, huge jumps forward in your life. So there was a Twitter chat that they had earlier today, and I've never been involved in one of these, and I was a little late to the party, but it was, I don't know, it was kind of fun to, basically answer they would put questions out, and then you could answer them, and then people would retweet you and favorite you, and it's kind of silly when you step away from it, but it was something to do while I was eating breakfast, and I had fun with it. So, and if any of those people watch this, thank you. It was awesome. I enjoy it a little more than one should, but I got nothing else going on, so whatever. So yeah, what to do today is the big question for me. I really want to get on my bike. I do. I'm a little nervous. I have the bike fit next Tuesday. I just got this really cool case for my phone, which is it's like a modular set of mounts that you can get. And I guess this was kickstarted, it's quad lock. It was kickstarted a year or two ago. And basically, they have these mount kits that you purchase that you can affix to basically anything. They've got a car mount kit, which is something I've really been looking for a number of years and haven't really found anything that works to my liking. And the case has a built-in set-in piece that you kind of, you hook in and just twist it, and it locks into whatever mount you have. But they have bike mounts, so you can put it on your bike, and then you can set the phone on your bike, and you can have Strava or map program or something like that. And I'm eager to get that on, but I kind of don't want to put it on until after my bike fit. So that's going to be a delayed satisfaction kind of thing that I hate that. I want instant gratification always, and having to wait like a week to put it on is killing me inside in some way. And I'm a little nervous about riding the bike. I don't want to get messed up. If it turns out that they need to swap me into a smaller frame, they do make a frame size one size smaller of the bike I got. I don't want to mess this bike up at all, so we can do a clean, even trade, basically. So I'm not giving them, damaged parts. But I do want to get on the bike. I want to get a couple miles in because I'm a dork like that, and I am still like at the 2 mile mark is my maximum logged, and I want to see progress. So there's that. In an effort to keep this sub 30 minutes, I'm gonna stop here. I can chat all day if I wanted to about this random stuff, but basically this week has been overcoming mood obstacles and learning that I can recommit every day, every moment, and feel good about things. So until next time, you all take care and have a great day.